Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Afia Janab Tithi and I'm from Sociology Department. I'm really thankful that our honorable teacher gave us the opportunity to talk about the movie. So my movie name is The Stanford Prisoner Experiment. This is basically a movie that based on the experiment of prisoners and the girls actually. So I made one slide for you, so I'm just showing. My topic is Stanford Prison Experiment. As you know, in the slide we can see that the facts of the story. If you are putting some good peoples in the evil, then what will happen in the future? That is consuming in the movie. And the evil place, does the humanity will win or the evil will win? So the experiment was basically planned for the big investigation of the psychology of prison life actually. Ultimately there are some college students who participate in the experiment, and college students were wanted to earn $15 day and by participating in this study. And this study of prison life that begins a average group of healthy, intelligent, middle class males. And this is important to remember the beginning of experiment, and these boys are assigned for it. In the next slide we can see that what is social group and which kind of group in the movie contains. A social group that defined as two or more people who usually interact with one another, and they used to share the similar characteristic and the particular relationship that defined in two ways, that is one is long lasting relationship and the another one is short timing relationship, what is basically based on some particular purpose which contains the secondary relationship. As we know that secondary relationship contains some in quality of good relationship, that is have to be the goal orientation in the duration of relationship in secondary relationship, that is one short term, and the breach of relationship is so much narrow. Perception of relationship is means to end, that have to be end. In the movie the Stanford Prison Experiment contained the information of secondary group, and there were rules regulation what conduct into the members as and we can say about the prisoners who need to remain the characters for the experiment. On the other side, girls also playing their roles, so the characteristic we can divide into two ways. They are doing for its one purpose. In this slide we can see two of the pictures. In the first picture we can see there are two characters, one is Curse who searching out and another one is prisoners. On the place each prisoner was systematically searched and stripped naked. What we can see in the second picture, he was often declassed with a spray and confident by various kind of things that they have or not, to ensure that things they used to do this. Okay, in the next, the working group. If we talk about working group, the movie that contains the working group perception, because as you know that when a group consisting of between about 2 or 3 members or 3 or 12 individuals who are continuing the work, they are made up and gathering attempting for a specific goal actually. In the movie we can see that Curse and prisoners are doing their role for getting the money, okay, and also for a specific goal. They are doing it because of the Stanford Prisoner Experiment. So we can reflect our thinking in the movie for working group. Group structure, what contains the rules, regulation that defines the group norms, rules and status, various type of things. And the other thing we can see that social norms and social rules that conduct with different kind of thinking, different kind of feelings, different kind of behaves, what people used to do with the other members. In the movie we can see that the prisoners was issued uniform, right? They're usually used to have the uniform in every way, whatever they're doing, they have to wear the uniform. That main part of his uniform was a dress, and or smoke, we can say that each prisoner have to wear it all the time. On the smoke in front of it is in the back, there is a number. On each prisoner's right ankle was a heavy chain, we can see that, buckled and worn all of the times. Rubber sandals were the footwear. Each prisoner's covered his hair with a stocking cap made from almost orange stocking. Social structure was applicable with the perception they didn't have anything to do. They have to obey all of the rules and regulation for the purposes. As we know that, as we can see that this movie is basically based on the experimental movie, and in the experimental the prisoners have to play their role, and this role have to qualify with the group structure, but conducted with different kind of rules, regulation, norms they have to maintain. And by this thing, uniform is one kind of thing that they have to maintain, otherwise this will be define the object. In this slide, we can see three pictures. In the first picture, we can see that the prisoner's right ankle was a heavy chain, and in dress there is an ID number, what will contain as their name. The use of ID numbers was way to make prisoners feel anonymous. Each prisoner had to be called only by his ID number as their name, and could only refer to himself and the other prisoners by his number. And the third picture says stocking cap, who is basically a substitute of their prisoner's hair shaved off. That's it. This is the process of one's head shape, which take place in most prisoners as well as the military one. It is also a way of getting people to begin complying with the rules of institutions, and this was followed in the group structure, what used to follow in the movie. Some particular rules and regulation what prisoners need to follow in the movie, that is this kind of things that they have done. This role is Gert's role. Gert's role in the movie, this is one of the most focusable role, because of the prisoners are only the prisoners. If there isn't any guards, they cannot ruled, or they will be free or something like that. But guards are making them in a very particular purposes, or they are behaving bad in all of the ways. As like we can see in the slide that there are two pictures. One picture is consuming the things that what girls are doing with the prisoners, as the girls are given no specific training in this movie, how to be a girl's look, or how to be a girl's do. Instead of they are free, they were free at the time, within limits or whatever they are doing the necessary to maintain the laws. In order to prisons, they can command in any prisoners in any ways. Okay, the girls make up their rules, set of their rules by their own self, and they carry it into effect under the supervision of David Jeff, an undergraduate from Stanford University. And of course they have to behave as like a real girls who voluntarily, like such a girl's role is such a dangerous job. All girls also have to maintain some rules, that is their uniform. We can see in the second pictures of khaki, and they carried a whistle around their neck and a billy club board from the police. Girls also wear specific sunglasses, what what prevent them anyone from seeing their eyes or reading their emotion, and thus help the fathers promote to their anatomy. So this kind of things they basically do, and always they prefer as like a new power laden role, and that basically one kind of harassment of prisoners, every prisoners. By presenting this side, I can say one thing, that is crowd group what basically conduct with the protesting power. Protesting is a session of basically crowdness, and that can be happening in negative way and that can be happening positive way also. In the movie we can see that push-ups are basically the physical punishment to the every prisoners what girls are used to do that, and they had basically experienced gradually that how can we harass the prisoners in various type of ways. And most guards are elected to keep their blanket and lay their fellow prisoners suffer into the solitary all night. Solitary which means dark room, bad cell, okay, whatever, that is totally dark one. The girls are very much arranged and frustrated because of the prisoners, because they haven't anything to done in the night shift. So they basically thought that the girls had to handle the rebellion themselves, and what they did, that was fascinating for the stuff beyond. And then they started the night shift of girls voluntarily remained the duty of roster in morning shift. The girls met and decided to treat and force with force. Prisoners started shouting at that time, and other prisoners were also got attached. And at this time, they made up and crowded group to escape from this situation. This protest can conduct with they protest for the right, but this is a group session of crowd group. And then the girls broke into each cell and struck the prisoners naked, took the beds out, forced the ringleaders of the prisoners' rebellion into the solitary confinement, and generally began to harass and intimately to the prisoners. We can see in the picture, girls took their beds out and forced them into the cell without any bed or anything. In this movie, there is a misuse of power. There is a fact of misuse of power in grouping session. Groups who were free to do anything that they wanted, but there wasn't anyone to stop. As like girls don't have anyone to stop. Girls started torturing the prisoners in night also. In the experiment, results astonished the world, and as the participants were from the middle class undergroups to drunk with power, sadist, and submission of victims, just a few days, and after the dark side cannot be handled, then Dr. Zimbardo closed the experiment. So the Stanford prison experiments was in a good position, or they have seen the dark side of power and the effect of imprisonment. So that's it.